Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be books that I always recommend. This is a list of books that I'll always recommend, the ones I can't stop talking about and the ones that stick with me long after I finish them. I read a lot, but this list is a mix of romance, fantasy, and even a thriller that really stood out. So whether you're looking for comfort reads or epic series to get lost in, these are the ones I always recommend. First is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This is an outdoorsy vibe, a slow burn romance, and the sweetest bond between the female main character and the male main character's son, plus a good classic grumpy sunshine dynamic. This isn't an out-of-the-park great read with a great storyline. I mean, it is. It has a great storyline because I love the book, and I do always recommend it. I love the outdoorsy vibes of it. She does a lot of hikes in the book and is kind of trying to find herself through it. I really feel like all books that I love, like the woman is just trying to figure out who she is, which is very much in a stage of life that I'm in. So I understand why I like that now. That just like clicked in just now. I have notes here, so when I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. Next up, Knock 'Em Out series by Lucy Score. Things We Never Got Over is the first book. Lucy Score is one of my favorite authors. I love how she blends romance with a hint of mystery, which makes the story feel so much bigger than just the romance. While I do like romance books, I am not a fan of all of the spice and no storyline with it. So with Lucy Score, I feel like all of her series have good storylines within them that aren't just like people falling in love. There's mystery in there. One of her series, they're like literally solving a murder. They're really fun. And while I love a good romance read, fantasy is really where I get swept away. So let's move on to all of my Roman Empire reads. Of course, we are going to start it off with a very popular series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. This was my first fantasy read and still the one I'll never stop recommending. This entire series is my Roman Empire and I loved Crescent City just as much. If you read ACOTAR, you can't stop after book one. You have to read the whole series. If you know, you know. So I actually just did a reread of this entire series because some of the girls in book club just started reading it and I'm finally on the last book, and the last book is one of my favorite because I feel like I'm a Nesta, very much so. I am the oldest daughter, so it gives me all the, I feel like I'm very much like just a Nesta. I'll leave it at that. Loved ACOTAR, loved Crescent City just as much. I feel like it had more, I feel like Crescent City had more like magical elements than ACOTAR had, and it's definitely more modern. The next book is, again, another well-known book, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros is a phenomenon for a reason. Dragons, romance, heartbreak. This series had me crying so hard at different moments. Between ACOTAR, Crescent City, and the Fourth Wing series, I don't think I've ever cried as hard in book series at different times, obviously not the whole book, than I did in those books. They're just so good. And I know I say that about so many things when it comes to reading, but they really are just, like if you really want to escape into like a different, you're escaping into a whole different universe, and it's really just so awesome. And so many people say that the books are overhyped, but read them, you know? Read them and then you'll figure out that they're not. They're really great. Next up is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This is, I don't know if this is her first series. I'm not sure, but she was an indie author that got picked up by a publisher. So now we are like impatiently waiting for book 4 with like no date in sight, you know? So love that. Honestly, it belongs right beside ACOTAR and Fourth Wing. You don't even need to know much about it. It's just that good. Again, with this series, it is very much giving ACOTAR, Fourth Wing, maybe, kind of with Fourth Wing's maybe vibes. I don't want to give anything away because I feel like it's so good. Another thing that I recommend for people to read, and anyone that has read these 3 series that I've recommended has loved them. So, but I will say, If you read ACOTAR first, that is the one you will love the most. If you read Fourth Wing first, that is the one that you'll love the most. It never changes. I feel like anytime I've recommended these books to people that are new to fantasy, that is the way that it goes. If they started with ACOTAR, they like ACOTAR more. If they start with Fourth Wing, they like Fourth Wing more. And I feel that because I started with ACOTAR and I like that more, you know? But I don't just recommend the popular series. There are some underrated ones that I think more people should know about. First up, the Dragonian series by Adrienne Woods. Nobody talks about this series, but it's incredible. Similar to Fourth Wing, but with more magical elements, and it's a 5-book series. I think I read this book shortly after, or this series shortly after, I want to say shortly after, like I started in fantasy, and I never hear anybody talk about it. But it is definitely, it's hard to describe it without like giving elements of it away. Lots of magical elements, lots. And with a bit of mystery in there. It's so good. I can't recommend it enough. I really can't. When I say that I can't recommend it enough, if you have watched any of my other videos, you know that like when I was explaining Quicksilver, like while I know that was a good book, I can't remember everything that happened. I mean, I remember some things that happened in it, but I really can't remember everything that happened. This was a 5-book series and I remember elements of the entire series. So that just goes to show that it really is good if I remember it, you know? Okay, next up, The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. A fantasy that's approachable and not overwhelming, perfect for someone who wants to feel the fantasy without diving into a super dense world. I feel like it's not fantasy though. Is it? If you've read it, let me know in the comments. Like, would you consider it fantasy? Maybe I'm just not remembering the fantasy parts of it. I just don't think it is. But it was a very good book. I only read the 2. I read the first book and the second. I didn't move on from there. The first 2 books were good. Next up, Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. A thriller that kept me on my toes. Every time I thought I had the twist figured out, another turn came and completely surprised me. I read this book years ago, and it is probably still one of my top books that I recommend because it was that good. Anytime that I thought that I knew what was going to happen next, it was like, no, this is happening instead. It was wild. I don't read thrillers too often. It just like goes to show that you really can't trust people in the world, you know, like that was like a prime example of like, don't trust anybody in your life. That whole book was a prime example of that. So, but it was very good. So next up, Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. A fantasy trials trope with a unique twist that makes it stand out. Perfect for fans of competition style fantasy. Now, we all know that I recommend Phantasma a lot. This was probably one of my top reads of the year, which I've read a lot of books. Actually, I haven't really. I've read like, I think from my last video, I was at 34. Let's see what I'm at now. Where's my phone? It's all the way over there. I'm not gonna get it. I think I've only read 10 more books since then, but life's been a little bit crazy, so that's why. But read it. I promise it's so good. Just read it. And if you've read it because of my recommendation, let me know in the comments. I want to know because I promise it's good. And if you read the second book, let me know because I haven't read that one yet. Okay, next. This is what I'm currently reading and I'm on book 4. So, The Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. This is my most recent obsession. The opening threw me off at first, but I'm so glad I stuck with it. Great writing and addictive storyline. So the opening scene and like the first like beginning part of the book, I did not vibe with. If I don't like reading a lot of spice, the whole beginning part was nothing but. And I'm like, what am I reading? I thought, how is this a 6-book series? I don't understand it. And then I got through it a little bit more and started realizing, I think I know what's gonna happen now. I think I know what's gonna happen now. And then once I got, obviously, I physically, this was the first, was this? What book did I read before this? Oh, I read A Shadow, I don't remember. The Shadows Between Us? No. whatever. I read a different book on Kindle, but this is the first time I've read a series on Kindle, a fantasy series. The second book or the third book, it was like 700 pages. I've never read that much. Now I've switched to audio, and I'm going back and forth between audio and Kindle because I didn't want to waste credits, because it's 6 books and I only had 3 credits that I've been saving up. So I'm going back and forth between Kindle and audio, and I will have to say that it has really been awesome. I finished the first book on our drive to New Hampshire, and then if you watched my last video, you know that, was it my last video? Yeah, my last video, that you would know that we had no service there. So you should have seen me down by the pool area trying to download the next 2 books because I needed to read them. It was that good. And all of like her hidden messages in there, like it goes along with the storyline and what she's going through, but how she writes it is just so beautiful. I recommend it. I've never read anything by Raven Kennedy before. This is the first time, and I definitely will read more of her books now. So these are all the books that I always recommend, no matter what. They're the ones that stayed with me, made me cry, or completely just swept me away. I'd love to know, what's one book that you'll always recommend? Leave me a couple in the comment, because I'm always looking for things to add to my TBR. And if you like videos like this, please give it a like and subscribe. Leave a comment, let me know. I don't really pay attention to my views because when you're new to this, like they can just get you down. And right now I'm doing this as a hobby, you know, to just figure out who I am outside of being a mom, which is what my channel is all about. So if you're also in your 40s and figuring out who you are outside of being a mom, subscribe and hang with me. It could be fun. If it's not, tell me what will make it more fun. I don't know. So subscribe and leave me a comment. Let me know what you're reading, and I'll see you in my next video.